Hi, I'm George. All right, let's dive into the whole sun moon thing from Genesis. And trust me, it's about to be fun. We have got people out there acting like the Bible is trying to teach us astrophysics. And honestly, when they say this, it's hilarious. We have got skeptics, mythicists, and modern misunderstandings all mixed up. So let's set the record straight, shall we? First off, the greater light mentioned in Genesis tells us that the greater light is one that rules the day. Now, the Bible does not tell what the greater light is. However, you need not be Einstein to figure out that it is the sun, right? It's pretty obvious. The sun separates day from night, provides light during the day, and it is placed in the heavens to shine on the earth. And let's not forget the sun's job. It also governs the day. So, according to Genesis, the sun is the head anchor in the sky. Greater light is equals to the sun. No need to complicate it. Then we have got the lesser light. Again, the Bible does not mention categorically what this lesser light is. Again, you need not become a scientist at NASA to know that it's the moon. The lesser light is equals to the moon. The moon is the night manager doing its thing while the sun takes a break. Oh, wait, it's not really a break. The sun is on the other side of the earth. If I say the sun is on the other side, it means the sun has moved. That's what the skeptics would accuse me of. So I should rather say the earth has rotated, and on the one side is the light, on the other side is darkness, which is why it's night. Does this explain everything about the sun, day and night? I don't think so. Does it explain? But here's the thing, skeptics and atheists are always going to nitpick over language intricacies as if they never use observable everyday language themselves. They, when it suits them, will insist on being scientifically precise. I would love to learn from them how they would describe something as simple as driving a car or drinking water using only scientific jargon. I'm drinking water because I'm thirsty, or I'm driving my car. Let's see how they will phrase that in scientifically accurate language. It's time to discard all this so called foolish language and start using scientifically precise term for everything, right? That's what we should do according to the advice of the skeptics and atheists. Should we do that? Can we live by speaking like that? So, the purpose of God giving the lesser light is clear. It rules the night and gives light in the darkness. Sure, the moon isn't the sun, it's not blasting out rays like some cosmic torch, but it works just fine for nighttime. It provides light, separates night from day, and governs the night. And guess what? Just because we later discovered the moon reflects sunlight doesn't change its role. It's still the lesser light because it's still the moon that is reflecting the light. Whether it's direct or reflected light, the Bible is talking about its observable function, not its inner workings. So, skeptics, calm down. The moon doesn't get a promotion just because we figured out that it's more like a mirror. Here's where it gets funny. People in literature love to talk about moonlight like it's some kind of magical ethereal force. They make it sound like the moon is out there conjuring up its own glow. But reality check. Moonlight is just sunlight in disguise. So, all these poets waxing poetic about the moon's glow, they might as well be writing about sonnets about disco balls because it's just bouncing light back at you, just like a disco ball. But hey, they keep writing to keep the romance alive. So, skeptics and atheists, please excuse them this time and every time you read such poetic language. Now, did you ever hear people try to argue that Genesis is just like other ancient myths? Oh, please, the Bible doesn't treat the sun, the moon like gods the way other cultures did with Halos, Ra, and Surya. In fact, some of these gods even had wives and children. For example, in Mahabharata, Karna is the son of the sun god, but the Bible isn't speaking about the sun and moon like this. The Bible doesn't deify the sun or moon. It clearly says that they are created objects. They serve us. not the other way around. They've got jobs to do, light up the earth, mark the seasons, and remind us when it's time for bed. They are not here demanding worship like Greek, Egyptian, or Hindu mythology. It's ridiculous for learned skeptics to compare Genesis, sun, and moon to ancient myths. They seem to forget the law of identity. The ancient myths, the sun and moon were treated like powerful gods, riding around in chariots and embodied by divine spiritual beings. But in the Bible, that's not true. They are just part of the furniture of the universe made by God to help us out. That is, they have jobs to do, as I already mentioned. God's the boss, and the sun and moon are just part of the setup, like the furniture. The Bible doesn't support sun god worship or moon god rituals. It's simply telling us what's what. They are lights and they have a job to do. Now, let's not forget the purpose here. Genesis emphasizes the function of sun and moon. They are there for signs, seasons, days, and years. They separate light from darkness. It's a practical setup. The Bible is talking about what we see and experience from the earth based perspective. The moon provides light in the darkness. Even though we later discovered it's reflecting sunlight, that doesn't change the fact that the moon is what we observe as a light at night. So, when the Bible calls the moon the lesser light, it's from the observable perspective of someone standing on the earth. And here's the fact that we need to learn. Science doesn't contradict this. Sure, we have learned more about how the moon reflects light, but that just deepens our approach for the complexity of God's creation. Genesis isn't trying to give us a celestial mechanics class. It's giving us a picture of how creation functions in our world, and that from an observable reality standpoint. In conclusion, the sun is the greater light and the moon is the lesser light. The moon's reflected light is still lesser compared to the sun's direct light. And that's how it's described in Genesis. The fact that the moon reflects sunlight doesn't change the observable reality that it is the moon which is reflecting the light. So we can call it moonlight. And poets can still call it moonlight, even if that offends some skeptics. And please, let's not confuse Genesis with ancient myths where people bow down to sun and moon as gods. The Bible is clear. They are just objects created by God and they have jobs to do. Here's the thing. The Bible shows us that just like the sun and moon were created by God to do their jobs, we too were created with a purpose to live in relationship with God. But unlike the sun and moon, we have rebelled, turned away from the one who made us. And that's why there's so much brokenness in the world. But God does not leave us in the dark in our brokenness. He sent His Son, Jesus, as the light of the world to rescue us. Here's what sets Jesus apart from every other gods whom the skeptics claim that the Bible is speaking about. No, that's not true. And here's the difference. And here's the difference that sets Jesus apart from other gods. Other gods demand that sinners face punishment for their wrongs, as we see in myths and other religions. These gods mentioned in the ancient myths destroy those who fail them and offend them, casting them away and punishing them for their karma or adharma. Further, this karma or adharma is not equal to Christian ethics. However, God of the Bible, while He is the judge of all the earth, will also punish sins, and all who sin He would punish. We who have sinned have offended Him, and we are all guilty before Him. However, God of the Bible is also loving. Therefore, He chose to love those who rebelled and disobeyed Him. That is, we who have sinned and disobeyed Him. He chose to love us. And because He chose to love us, what did He do? He chose to love those who rebel and disobey Him. That is why He sent His Son to lay down and take away our punishment upon Him and die for us. Therefore, Jesus is different from other gods. Instead of punishing us, he took our punishment upon himself. He didn't come to destroy sinners, he came to save us by dying in our place. Jesus lived the perfect life we couldn't live, died on the cross to take the punishment which we deserve. And he rose again, defeating death, which was the consequence of our sin. Think about it. While other gods will kill sinners, and that's why they come down to kill the sinner who offend them and for their failures. However, Jesus laid down his life to save sinners. He is the only one who would die for us, while every other god would demand our death and destroy us. Now, through Jesus, we can be made right with God. It's not about trying to fix ourselves or earn our way back. It's about trusting in what Jesus has already done. Just like the sun brings light and life to the earth, Jesus brings light and life into our hearts. Believe in him, and you will be forgiven, restored, and brought into God's family forever. That's the heart of Jesus. That's the heart of the good news which Jesus brings. Unlike any other, it's the light that overcomes all darkness. Will you trust in him?